All right, believe that we're good. Technical check.
I am on it right now. We are good.
Well, well, well. Ladies and gentlemen, we meet again. Good evening and welcome to another edition of the 2024 ARC Formula One Series. Of course, coming to you live, it is me, Smug. You can call me Alex for the night. Joined alongside by Billy Targi, as always. Billy, how are we tonight?
Oh, Alex, I am super excited for this one.
As we all should be. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, this is a very important stream for us. Partnering for the first time with Red Bull. This will be the Red Bull Canadian Grand Prix featuring all the drivers that you know and love. However, special things happening tonight. As we are, of course, here at Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve for round 11 of 15. Only a few races left in the season. It's really coming down to the wire at this point. But of course, we want to thank Red Bull for their support and all the communication that they've given us over the past week or so to get this set up. I mean, just a dream come true for a lot of us in the league to have that type of exposure and sponsorship. So, thanks of course to Red Bull.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. The winner of today's Grand Prix will, of course, be given something, not sure what, but Red Bull will be personally delivering something to the winner of today's race. Again, want to say special shout out to Red Bull. This is awesome for the league. Gets our league out there and just let everybody know about our great drivers that give us great racing week in, week out, Alex. So
Yes,
super stoked.
there is a prize on the line tonight, as Billy mentioned, and it has received the seal of approval of Red Bull, signed, sealed, and delivered straight to us. So make sure you stay till the end and see what it is that the winning driver will be getting. Want
Yeah.
to give a quick shout out to some of the drivers in this race, actually, that are appearing in the chat. Jackson Altman, Alexis Heredia. What's up, guys? I hope you guys fare pretty well tonight.
Yeah.
Jackson Altman mentioning that the Red Bull will win the Red Bull Grand Prix.
I was about to say there's a good chance we got two fast drivers who happen to be driving that Red Bull Racing
Yes,
Honda.
some of the top performers of the season thus far should be mentioned. Cameron Lopez and Jackson Altman, both well qualified.
Yep, and can't forget our defending champion Mikey DeYoung, who again woke up no practice, but we've seen this again, and again. He doesn't need it. He's just got genuinely raw pace. So look for Mikey to be fighting up there with these Red Bulls too.
Yeah, I mean, just an interesting situation for that driver specifically. Make sure you guys keep an eye on that Williams of Mikey DeYoung, MDJ, apologies, 2002. As this being in America's series, it's kind of a treat that we get his company week in and week out, as he's racing at about 2 or 3 a.m. any given week from the Netherlands, I believe, right?
Yep, absolutely Dutch.
Very Dutch. So, I mean, he came in last season and he was able to just kind of run the table with everybody and not quite living up to the same level of expectation as he set for himself last year. Of course, the competition has got quite a bit tighter in the time since. The board is really wide open any given week for the win.
Yep. I also want to give a quick shout out to a new driver on the grid in the Alpine, Tyler Latchford, sorry, not Latchford, little Bostonian there. Interesting to see what he can get done today. It's a interesting race to get a debut, but he's gonna look to show these guys what he's made of.
Yes, inaugural race in the ARC League, and of course, driving that Alpine, he'll be hoping to bring some justice to it, both as far as the ARC League is concerned and in real life, of course. But
Hmm.
hoping for a great performance from him. Currently number two, of course, only out of 3 or 4 drivers thus far that have laid down the time. Cameron Lopez will take provisional pole out of the 4 that have put in their first lap thus far with the 1:10.09, followed up by Mikey DeYoung, of course. And I feel like this will be a real dogfight for the win build tonight. I mean, we've got at least 4 or 5 drivers on the grid tonight that have a decent shot at winning this race, which you don't see too often. Of course, a lot of the drivers that you'd normally expect to see on this grid have sort of been whittled down to some extent, as there's only a few races left in the season and the new game coming out in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
The grid is looking a little shorter than we should expect it to. Only 15 on the grid tonight. We usually expect to see a full grid, if not maybe just a few drivers missing, but given the timing of this with the new game coming out and of course the season winding to an end to be able to accommodate a new season on the new game, some of the drivers have sort of tailed off, kind of checked out. So here we are with 15 on the grid tonight, and I believe it'll be a good race regardless.
I just want to mention George Knight going quickest in Sector 1 there as he heads out down towards the hairpin to get set for that. The nose of that Alpha looks very pointy. So see what he could do here. He's just got the casino straight to go, Alex.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I mean, only a few minutes into this qualifying session, of course, but it's Casper Solamra, his teammate, who's found himself on provisional pole by 6/1000ths over
Oh,
Red Bull.
oh,
Oh,
oh!
my goodness, commentator's curse has struck early, as George Knight has unfortunately made his way into the wall, and that is a front right wheel hanging by the threads that keep it from absolutely exploding off the car, and that is
Oh
his
no.
qualifying session done.
The
No
Wall of
lap.
Champions. We know what it can do. We've seen plenty of people. The Wall of Champions gets its name for a reason. We've seen the likes of Michael Schumacher make its way in there. It catches you off guard. And I know from experience, I have hit that more times than I'd like to say, Alex. And
Yeah.
the thing about it is once you hit the outside wall, it just shoots you and juts you into the inside wall. Luckily, there was no one behind him to get involved with it. It was a single car accident, but it's unfortunate for George. His qualifying is done.
And he should expect, of course, to start this Grand Prix from the very rear, as he was not able to set down a lap time of any sort, as we see Aiden McCarthy now ducking into the pits. But yeah, as long as everybody else is able to lay down a lap, then unfortunately that will be the back of the pack for George Knight.
Oh no.
Seem to be having a few game-related issues at the moment. Our host has unceremoniously been kicked from the server. Not sure what
I
we're going to
just
do because of that.
Nope. I went ahead and I jumped on top of it. I have a spare hand. I was able to send him the invitation, so
Of course, plenty of time left in the session
yep.
for him to be able to make it back and lay down a representative lap. For at the moment, he is sitting on a 111, about a second and 2/10 behind that of Casper Solamra, still remaining on provisional pole for the time being. Want to give a quick shout out, of course, to Luke Allen, an ARC veteran, appearing in the chat tonight. What's up, Luke? And yeah, Gilles Villeneuve, it always makes for great merit racing, I must say. It's not super technical of a track.
No. But it is demanding. You just get caught. It's weird to think of it. It drives almost like a street circuit in the sense that you're surrounded by walls. You're completely set on an island that was essentially built for
It is.
Olympics. And
Indeed, yeah. A man-made island built for Olympics that was then converted into an F1 track afterwards.
obviously after the late Gilles Villeneuve Ferrari driver. But yeah, there's grass, but you catch a wheel off, and it's so narrow, Alex. That the only open spot you have to really have any sort of instance is turn one, because you have a bit of runoff there. But unfortunately, that runoff can sometimes end up in, you know, turn two exit. So it's very narrow, not a lot of runoff, so the drivers have to make sure that they're on point. But again, not too technical. You got a straight chicane, straight chicane, straight chicane, straight hairpin, flat out.
Yeah, a driver's favorite, it must be said. Spectating is pretty good around this race. I have not personally attended, but I mean, it is the closest F1 Grand Prix to where I personally live, so I have a few friends that have been, and they all say the experience as a spectator is great. However, they've also been to a few other races where the experience has been a little better, they've said, but regardless, a driver's favorite nonetheless, of course. 14 turns around one lap of this track. We will be racing 35 laps tonight, First came here IRL in 1978 and have been here ever since.
Yeah. It's a track I personally love driving. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the first tracks I've ever driven when I picked up an F1 game, and that sort of thing sticks with you. It's also interesting to mention that the Xfinity Series for NASCAR also gave it a go here. So
Oh. Do
we
you
all
mean
remember the
the ARC
Robbie Gordon
Xfinity
incident.
series? Oh no.
No,
Of
no, no,
course, the
no.
real
IRL.
Xfinity series.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do remember that. Oh, following along now with, I believe, Cameron Lopez, who continues to sit on provisional pole. I'm sorry, he actually pipped Casper for provisional pole, coming down the front stretch at the moment, making his way through the last few turns as he heads down the straight. Billy, do you
I
want to
think he's
follow
gonna
around
duck
for a lap?
off. He's going in the pit.
Oh, it
Yeah, he
looks like
just
he
set
is,
that
yep.
lap, so he is gonna duck in. Oh,
Taking a look now, looking for a driver that we can take you guys around for a lap with. I believe it might be,
Tyler Latchford.
I suppose we could. Either him
Yep,
or
he's
Matthew
getting ready to set
Stotts.
up.
Looks like
Oh,
we will
Matthews.
be... Billy, you want to take us around with Tyler Latchford for this lap?
Absolutely. Here we come out of the final corner, getting DRS up. Want to get it pointed directly at turn one, the apex here. Get it nice and tidy, hit the apex. Don't want to get too eager on the throttle here. It's easy to catch yourself out. You're your own worst enemy here. And this is hugely important, to take all the apex, but keep it within track limits. He's done that. Take it out wide, not too wide. That was very close there. And then immediately hard on the brakes, we get set up for yet another chicane. As we exit through the corner, a little bit of traffic right there. Ooh, a little short side. He had a scruff with the wall. I don't know if there's any damage, but he's continuing on full bore through yet another chicane there of 8 and 9. It's going to set us up for the hairpin. Hard to mess up your braking here, but you got to get as tight as you can, carry as much speed, pull it out wide, hard on the throttle, open up the DRS, and it's just a long, flat-out straight until you get to turn 13, 14. Maybe get a little slipstream, little cheeky slipstream there. Nice and tight. Stay away from the wall. A little bit of oversteer. Take the fastest route to the line. What's it going to be? And he backs out at the line.
It looks like it.
Does
Nearly
not
3/10
improve.
down. Nearly 3/10 down on his last...
Yeah, I think
previous
that
best lap.
his exit there out of turn 7 might have gave himself a bit of wing damage. It just took the downforce off that car. It's a hit or miss too. You want to put downforce in there, but like you don't really need it because it's not like we have high speed corners, like hardly any to be honest.
Right.
So pretty much a lot of these drivers are going to be running low downforce just to get the maximum speed due to the straights.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out, of course, to Matthew Stotts. In the time that we were going around for a lap with Tyler Latchford, Stotts put himself straight onto provisional pole with only about 5.5 minutes remaining in this session. Only time for maybe 2 hot laps for most of these other drivers, depending on where they find themselves on the track. Second driver into the 109s with the 109.6, and he is a 10th clear of the Red Bull of Cameron Lopez for the time being.
Yeah, Boriyoshi's coming.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got a bit of a shootout. Pace seems to be consistent among all the drivers, of course, barring the incident that George Knight ran himself into early on.
What's it going to be for Boriyoshi? He improves by 3/10, but it just puts him two
Not quite
100ths
enough.
off of Mikey DeYoung.
Yeah. Should be noted, of course, as Billy just mentioned, I mean, not really too many high-speed corners on this track. In fact, the hairpin, and that is really the name of the corner, just, quote, the hairpin, is indeed the second slowest corner on the F1 calendar. Any given year, of course, you know, car regulation, barring any changes of and whatnot to pace, but
Second only to the Lowe's hairpin.
besides Monaco, yeah, this is the slowest corner on any given F1 calendar. So, I mean, won't necessarily make for great racing. However, I should say, won't necessarily make for great offensive racing. However, this track caters very well to defensive racing.
Yeah, keep an eye on this as Mikey DeYoung gets ready to start his qualifying lap here, Alex. Let's see what the reigning ARC American F1 champion has got in store for us.
Yeah, currently sitting P5 with the 110.2. He will be looking to jump as many as he can, and of course, pole is always in the cards for a driver like Mike de Jong, if he's able to pull it out of his back pocket. But as mentioned, I mean, just to make clear, he won the championship in this series last season, racing at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in his local time, just staying up to catch the race. And,
Yeah.
you know, things happen along the way, whether he gets too tired or whatnot, and regardless, he's been able to stick it out, and he is a welcome addition to the grid. We love having Mike de Jong here.
Yeah, Mikey de Jong in his off time is getting ready to go MX5 racing over there in the Netherlands as well as he goes quickest in Sector 2. Hopefully that's not a glitch. Is there a fight for pole here? A little cheeky slipstream. Is he too far back there?
I think he might
Hopefully.
be. Does seem to be improving, if only just marginally. Not the improvement I'm sure he was hoping for through the first two sectors, but as he crosses the line, we will see. Will he make it into the 109s? And he does! Up into P2 with the 109.7, about 1/10 behind that of Matthew Stotts in the McLaren.
Yeah, but you got to think Matthew Stotts, Cameron Lopez, and Casper are all going to be heading out. Mikey getting that lap in a bit early in terms of getting to the wire, Alex. So
Yeah,
that
Mikey.
might not be where Mikey stays. We also have his Cameron's teammate, Jackson Altman, who's been absolutely rapid this season.
I truly believe that this race may very well end up being a 6-way, 7-way shootout for the win. I think that the cream will rise to the top very quickly in this race. However, once it does, there will be a lot of cream there to fight through. Matthew Stotts, Mikey de Jong, Cameron Lopez, Jackson Allman, Boriyoshi, even AJ Knickel down in P9 at the moment. I believe all these drivers could be fighting for the win come the end of the night. Will be interesting to see how the podium positions shake out. Yes,
his home GP.
it is. So some level of increased performance expected here.
Oh,
Out
we
of
are going
that
to have an
AlphaTauri.
absolute traffic jam heading into turn 10 at the
Look at
hairpin.
this. Out of 15, it looks like 11 drivers out of 15 on the grid currently are making their way out right now.
Mikey de Jong will pull into the pits and call it a day. There's not much else he can do. He's a bit helpless.
Classic,
Right.
hello. Want to give a quick hello? I've seen you've been in the chat since just about the top of the broadcast. Thanks for joining, of course. We do want to mention that this is a one session qualifying, so this
Yep,
is
18 minutes.
This is an 18-minute single session qualifying, so as the time ticks down, there will not be another qualifying session afterwards. So pole will be pole at this point. As Mikey de Jong retires early from P2, he will be sitting upon his time of 109.7, and just kind of hoping for the best. Of course, Cameron Lopez, Casper Salamra, Jackson Altman, all the drivers we just mentioned. Great shot to take a run at that time.
Yep. Next to cross a line. 13 up the grid. Oh, and he's nicked the wall, but looks to be okay. He will improve.
Only slightly.
Next will
it
be
seems.
Casper.
And it is officially crunch time as we see this procession of drivers all getting a bit of toe off one another as they come down the back stretch, making their way through the final chicane, past the wall of champions, and over the line. We'll see if there's any change in this running order. Matthew Stotts will finish, not able to improve. Ayrton Frederick, much the same. Cameron Lopez retiring early, and it's Jackson Altman jumping, I believe, 3 positions there. P2 for the Red Bull of Jackson Altman makes his way up past Mikey de Jong
Oh,
by
but here
11 one-thousandths
comes
of a second.
the Ferrari to the line. Just gets P6.
Not quite able to improve enough. It will be P6 there for Alexis Heredia in the Ferrari, and
AJ crossed the line, but he has invalidated. And I believe that's it, barring Aiden McCarthy, who's also invalidated. So that's it. The grid is set in stone, Alex.
It looks like it. Matthew Stotts, kind of out of nowhere from the top rope, I must say. We've missed him in the previous few races. I mean, his consistency is it leaves much to be desired, but of course he's a busy man, so he's not able to show up on many of these Friday night races that we put on. However, when he does, it's always a treat. Pole position for the McLaren tonight.
Yeah. And what a way to start this Red Bull Canadian Grand Prix with a Red Bull alongside the McLaren on the front row of the grid. And right behind him will be his colleague and teammate, Cameron Lopez. And in between them, Mikey DeYoung.
Yeah, almost fitting, isn't it? It will indeed be a shootout for the win. Come the end of the night, I believe strategy is really going to be the only deciding factor among these top runners. As it is, of course, Matthew Stotts, who will take pole here at the Red Bull Canadian Grand Prix. Jackson Altman will line up alongside him, with Mikey DeYoung and Cameron Lopez occupying the second row. Third row goes to Casper Salamra with Alexis Heredia alongside. Boryoshi will get P7. A bit of a disappointing qualifying, I must say, for that Mercedes driver. He was probably aiming to be a bit higher than that. He will line up alongside newcomer Tyler Latchford, looking to make an impression on this league early. AJ Knickel will start from P9 alongside JB Cavanini, with AJ Gonsalves in the Haas, teammate of Jamie Cavanini, lining up P11 alongside Deshaun Davis. Aiden McCarthy, George Knight, and Ayrton Frederick will round out our grid. And it looks like we're just about good to go.
Yeah, barring the formation lap here. Alex, got a question for you.
And what would that be?
In terms of energy drinks out on the market right now for the new summer flavors, would you happen to have a particular favorite?
Oh my goodness, we should have discussed this beforehand. I know that you have not tried the new summer flavor yet. It's in a lime green
can't
can.
find it.
I'm not sure.
I can't find it.
Chat, if you guys have seen the new lime green summer Red Bull flavor, it is Karuba and elderflower. I've tried it a few times, and I must say, out of all the recent summer flavors, I think it might be my favorite. Besides, of course,
And
the
guys,
Juneberry, the blue can Juneberry. If you guys have not tried that one, make sure you try that one as well.
I will say this because we're friends. Alex has been saying this for 2 weeks before we even knowing that Red Bull was going to sponsor this, and he's been telling me to try it.
You need to. Everybody,
I
if
know.
you're listening to this stream at all and you have not tried the new Red Bull summer flavor, I promise you, your life will be changed afterwards.
It's good.
It is.
They've had a bunch of ones. My favorite's the blueberry and then the coconut one.
Yeah, the coconut white can. Of course, a
Yes.
classic summer flavor. All the summer flavors that Red Bull releases should always be worth trying at least once during your summertime. I mean, it just
And
fits.
winter.
If they carry it into the winter, there are some occasions where the summer flavors are, made to be limited time. However, sometimes, they're so successful that they do just carry them year round, and I'm really hoping that ends up happening with this new lime green colored flavor. The Karuba elderflower is so good. Oh my goodness. My original impression of the taste was like honeydew melon with a bit of hibiscus. Oh, it feels like the best possible
Oh, look
Starbucks
at
drink
you.
that you could
Look at
possibly
you.
order. Oh, it is so good.
Look at you.
I've been singing the praises of this beverage long before anybody mentioned the fact
Classic. Classic is saying the same thing. Saying Karuba and elderberry is absolutely great. It gives you wings.
yes, the Karuba elderflower flavor, if you guys happen to see it, it's really hard to miss. Like, I... You will, if you see it, you will know that it is the one, and you should
Looks
make
like
a
an
purchase. You should get
intermediate
it.
tire color.
It's available at just about every participating retailer, any gas station, convenience store, grocery store, anything that you can think of. You can probably find it there, as they're really good about releasing these flavors just about anywhere that they possibly can to make it available to everybody, and that's what makes it so easy for me to try it year in and year out. All the new summer flavors are worth trying any given year, I must say. So here we are on the formation lap. Of course, as mentioned, 35 laps here around Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. And oh, Classic mentioning now in the chat that the Karuba Elderflower, new summer flavor of Red Bull, will be somewhat incorporated into the prize available to the winner of this race. And that excites me more than anything. I really hope it goes to somebody that has not tried the flavor yet. I mean, if we had enough time beforehand to plan for this, I would have had Billy stop on his way home to get the new flavor somewhere and have him try it on the broadcast just to get a live reaction of what he thinks of it. But hence, we are going anyway. Lining up here for the Red Bull Canadian Grand Prix. Of course, it is Matthew Stotts on pole.
This is gonna be a good one, Alex. All right.
Pay no mind to the weirdness of the running order, the leaderboard this early in the race. Bit of trouble with lining up. The game has with some drivers, but it looks like we are off and running. A bit of a slow start here for Matthew Stotts as Jackson Altman makes his way around the outside, and a bit of contact there with Mikey de Jong. Matthew Stotts going very wide, avoiding any possible contact there. Jackson Altman off and running. Cameron Lopez making his way up into third. Casper Salamra also a big winner out of that. Up to P4 right off the start. It only took 2 turns for things to shake out the way that we never expect things to shake out the way they
Matthew
shake out.
Stotts is already under pressure from AJ Knickel as well as they can make a little bit of contact.
Wheels touch. Matthew Stotts starting, of course, on those hard compound tires, looking to go long from the starting position. I'm sure he imagined. No. I'm sure it was part of the game plan that Matthew de Jong would be gobbled up very fast, given the compound choice that he started this race on. But P9, after only a handful of corners, not even halfway through the lap. From pole position to P9, I'm not sure we've seen a fall from grace that heavy yet this season.
Barring a spin, and luckily he was able to maintain it with a bunch of contact there, but he's got his work cut out for him. Obviously has the pace, but he's got to show patience at this early stage. This is a long race. I know it's only 50%, but 35 laps around here. You gotta make sure that you maintain the tires and, most importantly, maintain your head.
The Red Bull of Jackson Altman already off and running, however, also under pressure here from Mike de Jong, who was able to make up the gap of about 0.6 of a second in the span of 2 corners or so. Mike de Jong is not here to mess around tonight, already right up into the rear of that Red Bull, with teammate of the Red Bull, Cameron Lopez, in his own Red Bull, right behind Mike de Jong. A bit of a procession here at the front. I'm sure a DRS train will form because of it. Casper Salamra sticking right with them, though. Props to him for such a thing.
George Knight ducked into the pit, I believe, for a front wing change on his Alfa Romeo.
Taking a look now at the compound choices of each driver as they start the race. It is Jackson and Mikey leading the way on the hard compound tires, and kind of interesting that Matthew Stotts, also opting for the hard compound tires, was not able just to stick with this lead group. Of course, he ran into some early contact, which sent him back quite a ways, but seeing that these lead two also opted for the hard compound tires, I'm sure Matthew Stotts was looking at his chances and not really hating them, you know? Cameron Lopez and Casper Salamre, P3 and P4, are opting for the soft compound tires, with Boryoshi, kind of the middleman on those mediums, AJ Knickel looking to make up as many spots as he can off the start on the softs as well. Up already to P6 from P9, and then it's a mix of hards and mediums down the rest of the grid, mostly hards though.
Yeah. Interesting for Cameron to be on those soft tires, especially knowing that he's on the softer, faster tires, but he's just got 2 fierce competitors, one being his teammate and the other being the defending champion. Put himself at a bit... Well, I will say this, Alex. The strategies that the Red Bulls have had thus far this season, where they're so similar in pace, if there's a safety car or anything like that, they've been kind of screwed, essentially, when it comes to pitting, because they're on top of each other so often that whoever is the trailing car often gets, you know, that slower pit stop. But here comes Mikey. And there goes Mikey.
Yeah, with some DRS assistance, Mikey de Jong in the Williams making his move early. And of course, I guess now it's just kind of time to tuck in. No real reason.
I believe he's going to let Cameron go on the softer tires, which is an absolute big brain strat.
Smart move, yes. Very smart move there, but it looks like he's lost out another position. Yeah. Ooh, bit of a twitch there from the Alfa Romeo. And we are off and running, folks. We've got ourselves a dogfight, a shootout, whatever you want to call it, exactly as predicted. This is the track for such a thing to happen, if none else.
Yeah, a bit overcast too, so the track's a bit cooler, so the softs will last a bit longer as opposed to the sun beating down on this otherwise unused track that sits for most of the year. But Jackson Altman goes right back by Casper as we get our first time penalty, Alex. That's
And
going
a
to be
bit of a
newcomer
lockup.
Tyler Latchford.
Tyler Latchford, the first one assessed with a track limits violation, unfortunately. It's a 3-strike policy, so he had already done it a few times before actually being assessed the penalty, unfortunately. Bit of a lockup there, as we were speaking, from Jackson Altman has allowed Casper sort of to make up a bit of ground, but Casper is straight into the pits on the soft compound tires, not too sure what's going on there.
Let's see if this is wing damage, Alex. This could be, maybe there was contact we didn't otherwise see between the two drivers, and yeah, he's getting a new front wing.
It looks like
not
it,
a good start for the Alfa Romeos here.
It looks like Mikey de Jong and Cameron Lopez up front playing a bit of leapfrog. Cameron Lopez did manage to get past him, at least as far as timing is concerned, for only a moment, as Mikey de Jong did reclaim the lead position. But it's game on from here. I mean, he will feel the pressure from these two Red Bull drivers very quickly and for just about the majority of this race, I imagine. Already building out a gap here to AJ Knickel, who has worked himself up to P4 from his P9 start. Very commendable.
Yep. A bit of a chip on his shoulder here. As, well, the man who helped put this one together, and it being his home race, has got to be a bit of pep in his step, so to speak, Alex. So
one would only hope. Of course, it's on him to put on a show for his home fans here at Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, as Cameron Lopez will duck up the inside of Mikey de Jong and does make the move stick, going through the final chicane, turns 13 and 14 over the line, and he will be leading this Grand Prix. However, Mikey de Jong is not having very much of that. Looking to make the return move early on, and he's on those hard compound tires, let's not forget. Cameron Lopez opting for the softs off the start.
Yeah, it's a bit of a, notice the field is quite spread out here. There is a tight battle here. Right behind AJ as Boryoshi, Alexis Heredia, and look at that. Matthew Stotts clawing his way back.
Yeah, looking down the back now of the Mercedes of Boryoshi, and it's really game on. I suppose we should, however, be looking forward on the Mercedes as he's made his way right up into the rear of the AlphaTauri of AJ Knickel. And, I mean, these are all podium spots as far as these drivers are concerned. Big lockup there, I believe, from Jackson Altman, who's fallen a bit off Mikey de Jong now.
Yeah, but they're side by side down the casino straight. Someone's going to have to give, and it's going to be Cameron Lopez. His teammate thought about just trying to take advantage, but wisely backed off. It's going to be back and forth here. Cameron's tires are going to fall off before these two other guys, so.
Yeah, a lot of leapfrogging early on, must be said. Of course, DRS assistance is one of the strongest DRS assisting tracks on the calendar is, of course, Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. One of the longest straights, barring, of course, the chicane in the final two corners. But plenty of time to build up speed and work that DRS.
I think Cameron might have overheated his tires because he was completely sideways out of the turn 4 chicane there. And his teammate said, "Thank you very much. I'll take that spot back. I'm going to go try and get after the defending champion."
Of course, plenty of respect between all of these drivers, especially in the top 4 or 5 or so. We'll not see them getting into each other's way too much, especially the fact being that two of them are teammates, Jackson Altman and Cameron Lopez. I'm sure that they will be making strategy calls as the race goes on.
Oh, Ayrton Frederick is off. Oh no, I believe is he beached on the curbing? He's got it going.
Looks like he was able to find the reverse gear. He does get it going once again.
Remember AJ at Bahrain, I believe it was. Where was it, Bahrain? Where he got beached on the curb and it disqualified him because it said he was stationary because the cars are so low that the curb just held him up, much like a ship being built.
He had one tire airborne. It was only one out of his four. However, he did not have enough traction on those other
Oh,
three tires to get going once again, as we do have a safety car being deployed now.
ooh, what do you do here? I mean, these leaders have put themselves in a position where I don't know, Alex. I know you got to see the likes of Cameron Lopez ducking in here, but
I'm
those on the hard 7 laps seems like a very short stint.
taking a look up and down the grid. I cannot tell what may have brought out that safety car. Nobody seems to have taken any damage.
I'm trying to get a look at Ayrton's car to see if maybe we're missing front wing end plates, anything that would sort of signify there's debris. I'm going to go through the field now, Alex, and take a peek. And I'm sure we'll see
I
select few
mean,
drivers coming into pit, but I'm not seeing anything that would warrant this.
looks
But
like our two
oh,
leaders, Mike de Jong and Jackson Altman, both making their way into the pits. Cameron Lopez as well following suit. Boryoshi, Alexis Heredia, Matthew Stotts, everybody down from P1 to P7
um,
thus far.
it just popped up on our screen that Jackson Altman and Mikey DeYoung have just received drive-through penalties for speeding under the safety car.
Oh, man. Oh, and how will that affect the outcome here? Oh, yes. Their pit indicators immediately changing to penalty indicators as soon as they exited pit lane. And, oh, what will that do to everybody else's race? Questions to ask, of course, later on down the line as we only find ourselves about a quarter of the way through this Grand Prix. Still plenty of racing left to go. And it looks like just about everybody, I believe every driver on the grid has made their way into the pits under this safety car.
Jackson saying thanks, the game broke, so he's not upset. He's saying it's a game mechanic that's given him this, but there's nothing that can be done on anyone's end right now to negate that. That's if he doesn't serve it, it's a disqualification, and you cannot serve it under safety car either, so
Oh, that adds such an interesting dynamic because, of course, all those circumstances affecting Mike de Jong as well, who will have to serve his drive-through penalty.
this will inherit Boryoshi the lead as well as Cameron Lopez.
And of course, both of those drivers, even Alexis Heredia and Matthew Stotts, who has made his way back up into P6 after a dreadful start, they must all be licking their chops at this point, seeing those penalty indicators. Looks like we will be behind the safety car for at least one more lap, just waiting on the tail end of the grid to catch up.
Allow us to catch our breath here.
Will allow us to make another shout out if nothing else. Of course, mentioning the new summer flavor of Red Bull, we should probably cue you guys into some of the cool Red Bull events that are going on this summer. Starting off with, of course, the Soapbox Derby, everybody's favorite. Oh my god, I love seeing videos of this event anytime it pops up. It is hosted in a different location each year, and this year happens to be in Canada. Huh, kind of fitting. June 27th, the Red Bull Soapbox Derby, which of course is open registration, people making their own vehicles, making their own contraptions, I guess is a better word to call it, to race through a bit of an obstacle course. And it's open registration, so it's not necessarily a professional event by any means. It's all just for fun. But it is always worth tuning into. Oh my god, I love seeing a lot of the soapboxes that people are able to come up with. There's a lot of creativity involved in it. You get points for such a thing as well as the event goes on. But June 27th in Canada will be the Red Bull Soapbox Derby, at least day one of the event. Make sure you tune in for that.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Yes, it will be in Edmonton this year. Very interesting. Not necessarily the location I would expect to host such an event, but here we are, and I will definitely be tuning in for that. Of course, plenty of other Red Bull summer events going on that I'm just personally aware of. I mean, this isn't anything that I was told to promote or whatnot, but I do always like shouting out the high diving competition that Red Bull hosts each year, as well as the Flugtag fun event where people, similar to the soapbox, they make their own contraptions where
Try and
they
fly.
they drive off a cliff and try to fly as far as they can, or I guess more like glide, into a body of water of some sort. And oh my god, the creativity that goes into a lot of these Red Bull events that happen over the summer is so much fun. You guys should definitely check it out if you're not already familiar. We
Oh,
are back under green flag conditions, though. Mikey DeYoung, decent getaway. However, Jackson Altman was able to stick right with him. They both have seemed to get a
yeah.
good jump on Boryoshi, though, who was a bit slow off the restart.
For Boryoshi, Alex, it's not going to matter because these two have to pit within the next 3 laps or disqualification will be given to them. So it's a matter of when do you come in. Do you wait the 3 laps, try and get a bit of field spread, try and get into some clean air? Or do you try and get it done immediately?
Yeah, interesting situation we find ourselves in here. Taking a look now at the tire detail, it looks like everybody that opted for the soft compound tires at the race start has
Oh,
switched off of them.
Mikey's
Noted.
electing to take care of it as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, looks like that. Boryoshi making his way up into P2 because of that. Mikey DeYoung into the pits, and he will be spat back out, I believe, at the end of the pack? No, P14. It looks like George Knight will be behind him still.
I believe there was an incident involving George Knight, single car accident, but he was able to continue on. But
Wow,
that's
and
not.
you have to, I mean, I'm just looking at this. Mikey DeYoung serving his drive-through penalty under green flag conditions is a bit of a power move, if nothing else. In
You have to.
P14 at the moment.
You cannot serve it under any safety car, VSC. It has to be under green flag
Right,
conditions.
right. I suppose I just meant just straight off the end of the safety car. Mike
Oh,
DeYoung had
yeah.
a dead set to duck into pits and get it over with as soon as possible. Still about two-thirds of the race remaining. Find ourselves on lap 12 out of 35. About a third
Yeah,
of
and
the
we're
way through.
at Circus Gilles Villeneuve, we mentioned earlier, very not technical, but very, very tight. So there's all we saw. Oops, drop something. There we see Jackson Altman, but let me continue here. That safety car is not too far away. You never know when one's going to come. But I would, as from a driver's perspective, Alex, I would have done it immediately too. So that means there's less field spread, which means everybody's closer together, which means if you're getting close to one car, you're getting close to several, as opposed to people being spread out, and then you'd have to keep passing, and see, Mikey and Jackson coming out essentially side by side there, but Jackson maintaining being ahead off of the wooden spoon essentially. But at the front, Cameron Lopez finds himself on the point. Oof. And Matthew Stotts, Alex, is right back up here fighting for the podium. I mean, not fighting for, he is on it. And we see another lockup. Now, I just want to, for myself, let's bring up these tire details and see where everybody went on to. Detail. Tire. Yeah, essentially, the top two running hards. And then you got from third down to seventh, all running mediums. And we got another hard. It's a mostly medium grid. Not sure how long it'll take, but I did mention before, cooler temperatures, overcast clouds mean these mediums can go longer than they usually would run in an otherwise sunny and hotter condition. So, that being said, and Mikey DeYoung takes a 3 set. It's just, oof. It's all oof for Mikey DeYoung thus far today. Oh, look at that. That would be George Knight setting a fastest lap. As Matthew Stotts takes a peek up the inside, which will turn to the outside here on Boryoshi. Another lockup there for Cameron Lopez. We've seen the Red Bulls both lock it up. Oh, and Matthew Stotts just could not find the traction coming out of the hairpin, and that just alleviates Boryoshi a bit of a gap. Both of them with DRS, not really gaining. Doing everything he can to keep up with that Red Bull, and Matthew Stotts just trying to maintain. But look at Alexis Heredia closing in on the three of these guys as well.
Oh man, yeah, it's game on from here. I must say, almost halfway through this Grand Prix, and drivers are looking to hold position from P9 to P5, and of course the big losers. Another big lockup there from the Mercedes. Two laps. Cameron Lopez also locking up. Did not manage to lock up on this lap. However, they are really gunning for it here through the hairpin. Specifically, that one corner, these top three drivers are really letting loose. Lots of tire smoke, lots of locking up, and it has allowed Alexis Heredia to jump his way right back up into this fight. He may as well be fighting for a podium position here.
Yeah. 20 laps to go here. We see a Red Bull at the point. Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari, AlphaTauri. I almost said Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. And the Alpha and a Haas. 7 cars, 7 different teams, Alex. You love to see the parity.
Oh my goodness. The type of heart-pounding excitement that you can only find somewhere like the ARC F1 League, as well as the Red Bull YouTube channel. Another big lockup there from Cameron Lopez. Oh my goodness, these drivers cannot figure out the hairpin at this point in the race. Yeah, not sure if it's tires because of the weather.
The hards will be a little, but we saw Mikey and Jackson really making those hards work, so maybe it's Cameron feeling a bit of pressure. Ooh, as we see Stotts get a bit of oversteers. Boryoshi blocks the inside for turn 1, which will turn into the...
Alongside, though, is the McLaren. Wheel into the side pod there of the Mercedes has forced Boryoshi a bit wide, and that has opened the door for Alexis Heredia, who is now right up into the rear of both of those cars.
Oh, and then Matthew Stotts in his aggression.
Oh, no. So that is 8 drivers currently sitting on time penalties of some sort out of the 14 remaining, over half the grid.
I believe Matthew Stotts might have felt like he was at fault there and let off to let Boryoshi back by, which is commendable. Matthew Stotts is a respectable racer, as well as Boryoshi. And another massive lockup. And Boryoshi goes wide. He misses the apex.
Oh, it looks like it.
Matthew Stotts just could not get traction.
Yeah, he did not have time to capitalize on it, but he is still right there, of course. Maybe looking to take a peek now.
Yeah, Boryoshi was out of DRS range. As my notes fall to the floor.
That is P2 for that McLaren driver, who, of course, should be mentioned yet again, started this Grand Prix on pole position. Matthew Stotts, quick fall from grace as he was touched up, I believe, twice through the first 3 or 4 corners or so, fell all the way down to P9, has worked his way back up under safety car and all other conditions to P2 for the time being. He is fighting his way for this win. Boryoshi sticking right with him, though, as Alexis Heredia has fallen off these two just a bit, not too significantly. He is still well within DRS range, so the fight is definitely his still to take to these drivers. As we see our next time penalty being assessed here. Oh no, and that's now 9 drivers. And a big lockup there from Alexis Heredia. That is going to lose him quite a bit of time to this lead pack, and he is now out of DRS range, with AJ Knickel starting to breathe down his neck.
Well, while we sit here and watch the leader in a Red Bull, followed by the McLaren of Matthew Stotts and the Mercedes of Boryoshi, just want to give a quick shout out to the chat. Anybody watching who wants to make a donation to Red Bull's charity, visit wingsforlife.com. It's a charitable organization that was founded in 2004 with the sole purpose to cure spinal cord injuries for athletes and anybody that's been involved in any sort of accident. 100% of those donations go directly towards spinal cord injury victims, and it's one of those things that not a real cure, Alex, but we've seen a lot of drivers in the past suffer spinal cord injuries, and they're very tough, including football. Matthew Shazier is one of those that suffered a spinal cord injury. Very, very serious conditions, but again, Red Bull, wingsforlife.com, 100% of the donations go towards the victims of a spinal cord injury.
Yeah, and of course that charity specifically, Wings for Life, is very relevant to just our local area personally. I mean, growing up in New England, extreme sports have always been prevalent in a lot of what goes on up here. You know, plenty of mountains, plenty of things to take advantage of and capitalize upon for the sake of extreme sports, and of course with that comes injury and unfortunate situations as it happens. And Wings for Life does a lot of work up here in the New England area to help out with a lot of that. So we want to shout them out, and we want to encourage you guys to visit and just take a look at what they're doing over there.
Yeah, encourage you guys if you want to make a donation. Matthew Stotts just gave me a heart palpitation there, but we encourage you guys to head over to wingsforlife.com, make a donation, and it'll help somebody out there suffering from a spinal cord injury.
Seems like the grid has sort of settled down a bit. Only a few drivers within DRS range of one another. Jamie Cavanini in P9, less than a second behind Jackson Altman in the Red Bull P8, and as well Matthew Stotts within 1 second of Cameron Lopez ahead of him for the lead of this race. However, besides that, not too much going on. Another big lockup there from Alexis Heredia. Oh, excuse me, unfortunate there for the Ferrari. I mean, he was right in this fight. He now finds himself about a second and a half back.
Oh, look at this, Casper's. This is close right here between Casper and AJ Knickel.
Oh, a
AJ
brush
goes a bit
with the
wide.
wall.
Yep, but we can brush walls. That's what we do when we paint, Alex. It's when you slam them like a demo crew where things become a problem. AJ a bit off kilter there, but able to get the grip out of the corner and maintain that gap. Ooh! The rear end not really agreeing with AJ wants from the car right now as he holds off what we know is a rapid Casper.
Yeah, has shown plenty of pace. Of course, was in just about the top 3, top 4 for most of the previous qualifying session. So has certainly shown the pace to be right up there in the fight. However, has not been able to make the move when it matters, it seems. Taking a peek back now at the front of the pack, it is Matthew Stotts, who's now worked himself within half a second of Cameron Lopez. Cameron, I believe, maybe seeing some fall off. I'm not too sure what's going on there with the Red Bull.
Cameron has the tires that can maintain the longevity, though. So just as long as he survives the attack so much and just holds steadfast, he will be good in the long run. Well, again, barring any safety cars, because I mean, and I believe that's exactly what Jackson Altman ended up actually got passed by Mikey DeYoung, but Mikey and Jackson are almost praying for a safety car.
Yeah, finding ourselves now at lap 22 of 35. It's really coming down to it. Only about a third of this Grand Prix remaining. 2/3 already in the books. No lockup here, it looks like, from Cameron Lopez, thankfully, in that lead Red Bull. However, Matthew Stotts still chomping at the bit. Not out of this fight by any means, as we see another track limits violation being assessed, this time to Ayrton Frederick.
Now it's who doesn't have one.
There are only 3 drivers remaining on this grid without a penalty of some sort.
4. Cam Boryoshi. Oh, never mind. And
Alexis Heredia
and Jackson Altman. Altman had the drive-through, but he since
I believe
cleared that.
Alexis Heredia may actually have a penalty. Let's take a look now. It is Boryoshi, Jackson Altman, and Alexis Heredia, the only 3 drivers on the grid without a penalty. And Cameron Lopez, of course.
Cam.
Yes, I am.
I was going to say you're forgetting Cam. Poor Cam. Cam, you don't got a penalty. Keep
Gets
chugging along.
forgotten about at the top of the running order. You know, as
Yeah.
happens with Red Bulls this time of year.
Ah, it's funny because it's true.
Another one being
But
doled
I'm
out
like,
this time. Oh,
who was that? I
that
missed
is
it.
George
Oh,
Knight
never
getting the
mind. It was
next
George Knight. I
penalty.
took a peek at the stream. Yeah. That's also got to help Cameron too. Like he knows that behind him, as long as he's defending, he knows he has the tire life and air to Frederick. And that's a crash. Is it gonna be cleaned up? Is this gonna be a safety car? No.
Can't quite
Oh,
tell.
he's tired, but he's moving. I digress. The leaders are coming up on that rather quickly, and the car is cleared. All right, so we stay green. No big deal. Mikey DeYoung and Jackson all must have seen that and just, I don't want to say got their hopes up, but got their hopes up. Welcome, Chill Mo, watching this stream, saying hi to me and Alex. How are we tonight, Mo? Hope everything's great. Grab a can of Red Bull. Settle in for the last 12 laps of this Canadian Grand Prix because we're going to have a good one.
Oh, and a big lock up there from Matthew Stotts in the McLaren. However, it has not swayed him very much. Still well into the fight here with Cameron Lopez. Not quite close enough to make a move here as they go down the backstretch, but he does get very close to the rear end of that Red Bull.
Yeah. It's, you can see that Cameron's saving while Stotts is deploying. Stotts knows he's the time penalty. He doesn't really have the longevity, but he does have the softer tires. But it's that penalty that's just really gonna like hold him back. And to his credit, though, I do believe even if he got past Cam, I don't think he would end up losing P2 because he's built himself a substantial gap to Boryoshi, which is sitting at 3.2. As long as he stays with Cam, but that's just, it's got to be heartbreaking for Stotts. We talked about the pace, the pole position, and then just going from P1 to P9 before we could even get to the hairpin on lap 1. It's got to be gut wrenching. Either way, he'll get another dose of DRS and try and claw after Cameron. Nope. Cameron's just able to maintain just enough.
Yeah, for the time being, it will be that Red Bull commanding the lead of this Grand Prix. We are now within 10 laps remaining, and it is game on. Strategy be damned, of course. These two front runners both opting, I believe, for the hard compound tires. No, it is Cameron Lopez on the hards, Matthew Stotts on the mediums, and with 9 laps to go just about, I think that McLaren may start to see some struggle soon enough. Over half the race distance already spent on those medium compound tires, Matthew Stotts.
And it's not like he's been managing them either. He's been just really, he's been pushing Alex, so to speak. But Cameron too, man. I mean, Cameron's about locked that front left into a cinder block at this point. You know what I mean? But still chugging along. He's still able to maintain that gap. Martin Brundle would say, teeth chattering away type flat spots. Knock your fillings out.
Oh yes. If the porpoising wasn't bad before, I'm sure it plenty is now.
And Boryoshi's kind of dropped off the back here of Statsu, so the penalty I don't think would affect him at all if it stays the way it is now. It's just crazy to see that Cameron's been able to save and deploy in so much of the key areas that he's been able to, like we talked about DRS training, but oh, Stotts gets a bit squirrely there. It should have been just drive right up to the back of him and go on by, as we saw another lockup. Just I believe he's just smoke screening. As we saw Mikey and Jackson and Cameron doing earlier, just passing each other, but Cameron's not even leaving the passing to be an option.
Yeah.
And look, you can see he's saving battery down the straight, where Matthew Stotts has DRS and deploying and just cannot get it.
I'm sure it must be a major struggle for Stotts at this point on those medium compound tires that he has already spent, I believe, 19 laps on.
That's a whole lot of time, Alex.
Oh, and of course they're keeping it interesting up here at front. However, most of the rest of the grid, of course, has found themselves in a bit of a lull. Mikey DeYoung and Jackson Altman just becoming such a non-factor in this race after having served both of their penalties, finding themselves in P6 and P9 respectively.
Mo wants to take a peek at the back here as we got Deshaun, Proxy. Oh, who's that? Is that
AJ Goncalves?
George?
Oh, George Knight, it looks like, in the Alfa Romeo.
He just ducked in and emmed it in.
Did not fancy his chances tonight and has decided instead to cut it short, it seems, that Alfa Romeo. He will join, of course, Tyler Latchford and Ayrton Frederick as fellow DNFs. So that leaves us with 12.
Mikey DeYoung's managed to claw his way back up to P5.
Yeah,
so here comes AJ Knickel. Thinks about it. I'm glad he thought about it too.
How's it?
I am very. Woo!
AJ, you missed 100% of the shots you don't take. I gotta respect it if nothing else.
Do not listen to that, AJ. You chose correctly. Hell of a race for AJ right now. Solid points. Doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
Could
up
have told
to
AJ,
P9.
like, hey, you're going to be fighting with Mikey during the race. He'd be like, awesome.
Up from P9, where he started, was as high as P3, I believe, behind the safety car. As now the things have balanced out and he's found his way back to P6, but of course still threatening, with Alexis Heredia in that Ferrari that has shown pace all night right on his tail.
Yeah, all three of these cars. Oh, and they're just all spent of energy, too. Oh, no, Heredia makes the bold move and gets the job done. Ooh.
Yeah, up into P6 for that Ferrari, and it's only up from here. Oh, as AJ looks to have another peek up the outside, going the long way around. Oh, and Alexis Heredia left him absolutely no room to make that move work, but AJ said, I do not care. I'm doing it anyway.
He must have heard you. He said, you don't... Oh, my goodness.
Backs out of that one, though. Yeah. Getting a bit testy here between the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari. Alexis Heredia really sending that one. AJ kind of understanding the situation, not trying to take the fight to him by any means. But still, right there in it.
Bit RGB elbows out. Oh, the Alexis Heredia on, 14-lap younger tires than the guys around him. He did pit a second time just to get tires, and it's seemingly paying off. So,
as we find ourselves winding down this Grand Prix with only about 5.5 laps remaining, I mean, the question begs to be asked. How far up will Mikey DeYoung find himself come the end of this race? Is he fighting for a podium right now from P5? It looks like maybe not, as Alexis Heredia just made the move on him. Commentator's curse strikes once again. Mikey DeYoung now down to P6 for his troubles.
It's also that for Mikey, the leader, is 14 seconds up the road. You'd have to be a god to make up that amount of time.
Want to apologize,
Heredia,
of course,
not done yet.
For all those tuning in just at this current moment, we are experiencing some weird lag trouble in this lobby as our normal host was kicked out from the lobby, so the host was migrated to somebody else, and I think that secondary person's internet is causing us a bit of trouble. There's some weird visual bugs going on in the race as we see Casper Salamra, I believe, just crashed himself into the wall as we were following along with him, looking to get going now, looking to
There's no
find that
way there's a
reverse
safety
gear.
car now.
Not too sure what's going on. I mean, the game is just behaving so crazily at this point. I'm not sure what he's trying to do with that car. It's in one place and then it rubber bands to another, so it looks like he did manage to get going. There will not be a safety car, no debris to clean up, and he is off and running now down to P8.
This is, I swear, for Matthew Stotts, it's the old dangling a carrot in front of a donkey. Donkey's forever chasing it. It just, it never gets closer. It's just, uh, Cameron's just been, he's done such a great job managing.
I mean, for
And
20 plus lap
give it to
old
some,
medium
yeah.
tires, yeah, he's really made it work up to this point. Still finds himself well within DRS range, has been hanging back by about half a second for most of the previous 12 laps or so. Now finds himself a bit more than half a second back, but still right there in it.
Yeah. And like I said, he's maintaining the gap to Boryoshi, so he is not in danger at this point in losing uh, P2, barring any other penalties. But he's almost close to being 6 seconds cleared, so it's Casper and Jackson Almo wheel to wheel.
Yeah, that Alfa Romeo looking to take the fight to the Red Bull. However, Jackson getting the better of him. P8 it will be for that second Red Bull for the time being. And wow, I just
Never
can't get
mind.
over it, Bill. I must say, P5 and P9 for Mikey DeYoung and Jackson Altman, respectively. Did not see that coming tonight.
Well, I feel like that got given a bad hand, considering what Jackson was saying. It was the in-game issue that gave him and Mikey a drive-through penalty. So I don't want to, because they were coming into the pit. I don't know how they were caught speeding under safety car, because that's more of a Delta thing and a countdown, you know. So it's unfortunate for both of them. But I mean, Mikey's made the most of it, getting back to P5. So it's the little things that help you along the way in order to win a championship. And where Mikey's sitting right now, he's going to end up retaining the lead of the championship over Cam. But Cam's going to make huge inroads. And Jackson Allman's just 10 points behind Cameron. So this is not the day that Jackson Allman would have. Cameron's having the day that he needs. Mikey's having a day that he can just manage and just, you know, take something over nothing. Two drivers having completely different days in the hunt for the championship here with only 4 races left after this. And again, just oh, and that's another. I'm not.
That is a day done here for Casper Salamra, retiring from P9 in that Alfa Romeo. Oh, and
Jackson
that's a
Allman.
penalty there for Jackson Altman, of course, not really mattering now that he finds himself so far down, nearly
Yeah,
20
everybody
seconds
around
to the
him
car
has.
behind him.
Yeah, and everybody around also has 3-second penalties. So
That leaves
now there's
two
only 2
drivers,
cars
Bill.
left.
Yeah. Oh, interesting situation here. Of course, Matthew Stott's well out of risk of losing his P2 position due to his penalty. For the time being, Boryoshi would really have to turn it on as they cross the line for the final lap here of the Red Bull Canadian Grand Prix. This is, of course, race 11 out of 15 in the season, so really coming down to the wire. All these points matter more than ever.
Yeah, Matthew Stott's not within the championship fight, but uh, it's a good point day for guys like AJ. great for Cameron Lopez right now.
And maybe not quite the dogfight for the win that we were expecting come the start of this race. However, these two up front have certainly kept it interesting from start to end. Along with, of course, Jackson Altman and Mikey DeYoung.
Yeah, for Matthew's thoughts, it's gonna be a race of what ifs.
So as they come
Get the launch at the line, yeah.
through the final chicane, final two corners, and onto the start-finish straight over the line, it will be Cameron Lopez taking the win here for the Red Bull team. Oh, and it's just fitting. Here at the Red Bull Canadian Grand Prix, it is Cameron Lopez who manages to make it work. Matthew Stotts taking home P2 even after his penalty assessment, with Boryoshi rounding out the podium in the Mercedes. Alexis Heredia will take P4 with Mikey DeYoung crossing the line in P5. AJ Knickel looks to be the next to cross. And it is P6 there for the Alfa Tauri, one of his better finishes of this season, I believe. Jackson Altman will hold on for P7, manages to get the best of Jamie Cavallini come the end of the race. But of course, all eyes on Cameron Lopez. Wow, what a drive there from the Red Bull.
Just taking a look. Matthew Daly, thank you for joining us. Great team win for you guys for T44. Just want to say shout out to Matt in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Matty Tashiro saying good job Boryoshi on a podium for FBR. But I want to give a shout out to Matthew Stotts, who after lap one looked very bleak, Alex, and to manage to be able to salvage a podium out of that, that's good stuff.
A redemption drive, if I've ever seen one. As mentioned, down to P9 after the first 3 or 4 corners of the first lap, fights his way back and manages to hang on for P2. Wow, what a drive there from the McLaren. But of course, the Red Bull will be coming away with the maximum points score of the week. I'm not sure who got the fastest lap this race. I must say, I think
Jackson Altman.
It was Jackson Altman who will be getting the bonus point in the other Red Bull, hanging on for P7. And there you have it, folks. The finishing results here in Canada. Cameron Lopez taking the win with Matthew Stotts alongside. Boryoshi will round out the podium in P3. Alexis Heredia, great drive there from the Ferrari driver. He was hanging on to the tail end of this lead pack for most of the race. Fell off a bit towards the end, but hangs on for P4 as Mikey DeYoung will make his way back up into P5 after serving his drive-through penalty. AJ Knickel P6 with Jackson Altman P7. Jamie Cavallini and AJ Gonçalves will take P8 and P9. Deshaun Davis in the final point scoring position with Aiden McCarthy, Casper Salamra, George Knight, and Ayrton Frederick rounding out the grid. As well as Tyler Latchford should be mentioned. Sorry, he was the last name off the screen, but of course, first drive out for Tyler Latchford. Good race for him nonetheless. Oh, and of course, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Red Bull Canadian Grand Prix. Want to give a quick shout out, of course, to the Red Bull YouTube channel. I mean, if there's nothing else you've got going on tonight, make sure you go straight from this stream onto the Red Bull channel. Plenty of really cool stuff they're doing over there. A lot of F1 racing content, a lot of extreme sports content, just really good stuff going on the general, just generic Red Bull YouTube channel. Make sure you guys check it out. I believe we are wrangling some of the podium finishers for interviews at the moment, Bill.
Yep, we got third place finisher Boryoshi. I think I'm gonna have to, because Cam's on
Gonna have
PC.
to phone a friend.
We're gonna have to phone a friend, and hopefully I don't hold him too close to my microphone this time. But, well, for starters, let's start off with Boryoshi, P3. Very mundane, head down kind of podium finish. Luckily, the top two guys took drive-through penalties. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take it. Qualifying was, I think, disappointing on my end. I was like right at the end of the gaggle of cars where we were, I think top seven were all close, but I was right at the back. Um, got a good launch, and my first stint, I felt good. And then, yeah, obviously very fortunate that two guys got drive-throughs. I didn't see what caused it. My guess was speeding prior to coming into the pit lane. And then after that, I was like very concerned about getting my hards to the end. So I was de facto first and was just trying to look after my tires. My strategy was kind of hindered by the fact I made a couple of mistakes and dropped out of DRS from the top two. And then that was kind of me done. My setup was quite high downforce because I was worried it could rain, which I regretted because I was a sitting duck on the straights uh, with or without DRS. So that kind of made life difficult.
Well, it's a podium nonetheless. Trying to claw back. 4 races left. Got as much as you could get today, man. Good race.
Appreciate it.
And we got Matthew Stotts, pole sitter. Uh, didn't get a good launch off the line, Matt. And then calamity ensued. Walk us through your first lap and coming back to finish P2.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a bad start to begin with off the line, and then I don't know. I had no clue Mikey had already gotten to the outside of me. Quite honest, to be honest with you, so that caught me off. And then obviously I'm trying to not wreck the car, you know, and I was being probably too lenient for the rest of the lap, but I was just trying to keep the wing together, and try and finish this race. And then going back through, got a safety car, and then I don't know, threw mediums on and kind of tried to do my own thing. Um, I knew I was gonna have to go through some really fast people, and I knew I had kind of had to get my elbows out, which I don't like doing, but I felt like I had a chance there whenever that safety car came out and Jackson and them had gotten the drive-throughs. But I'm happy with it. I'll take P2 any day, man. Uh, I'm just getting closer and closer. So, it was fun. Had a great. I had an up and down race. I think we'll put it like that. But nonetheless, it was good to at least still be, on lap 35, at least within range of Cameron with how old my tires were. So, all in all, good day for me.
Yeah, yeah. You sound dejected, and I don't blame you because you showed you had the pace. But I mean, considering what happened lap one, to be able to just come back and still be within DRS range of the winner for the entire race, yeah, pick your head up a little bit, man. You had the pace, you were good, you got pull. It's a solid day.
Yeah, just got to get it done now. Just got to end up on the top step next race.
Yep. I have not actually been able to. I can't get a hold of Cameron, so that it's rather unfortunate we can't get the winner. But Alex, if you want to walk us out of this one, this was a good one and a pretty special one indeed.
A special one indeed, Bill. We want to give a big thank you to Red Bull for partnering with us for this race. It was a good one. I mean, from start to end, it was exciting. We had some great action. But of course, it wouldn't have happened without the help of Red Bull. We want to thank them, of course, for their partnership for this race. Make sure you check out everything that they're doing over on redbull.com, on the TV app that I personally use, Red Bull TV, on their YouTube channel, on just about anywhere that you can imagine, you will find Red Bull stuff. And of course, above all, try that new summer flavor. I swear to you people, try that new lime green Karuba and elderflower summer Red Bull flavor. You will not regret it. Want to give a big thanks once again. Of course, we have a few other shoutouts to make. SimLeaguePro.com, our premier partner for a lot of the leaderboard and stat tracking that we do here in the league. If you're looking for a schedule, if you're looking for leaderboards of any given ARC racing league, make sure you check out SimLeague Pro. Of course, also the Racing Rats, who provide us great mods for the Assetto Corsa leagues that we do here in ARC. All of them are free, and if you were to search the Racing Rats on any social media, on Google even, I'm sure you would find their website very easily and take a peek through a lot of the stuff that they're doing, because they are providing a lot of fun to this league with their Assetto Corsa mods. Shout out once for AJ Knickel, who is, of course, the president of the Auto Racing Connected league that we run here. He participated in this race, and he does a lot of the graphics for this league, so we want to thank him for the work that he puts into it. And, of course, last but not least, Red Bull, we thank you, of course, for the partnership, and we are so excited to hand out this prize for the winner of this race that we've been kind of talking up all race. Have not yet revealed it, and of course, you guys will have to wait to see on ARC socials what it is that the winner of this ARC F1 race manages to receive from Red Bull. So make sure you check
Hopefully.
out the Instagram, the YouTube channel, all channels that you can find ARC through. We will have information for you there about that. And at that,
I
I
heard they're
believe
gonna make Cam jump from space.
I want to
They're
see
gonna give him a
Cam.
ticket, and he's gonna jump from.
I want to see Cam Lopez do the Red Bull high dive competition. I think he should get free entry into the next high dive competition. I think that should be his prize. Personally, just me. Oh, we want to thank you guys, of course, for tuning in, as always, every Friday night just about. We take weeks off here and there, as they do in IRL, but if you're looking to catch the good racing action that you find here, make sure you tune into ARC on any given Friday night, or maybe a Monday or Tuesday, or any night that you may find other racing leagues going on. Of course, we have the Sunday night Gran Turismo League. We have a few Assetto Corsa leagues happening at the moment, and as well, of course, the Tuesday and Wednesday night NASCAR leagues. Very hot commodities in the ARC community. People love participating. It is open registration. If you like what you saw tonight in the ARC Racing League, make sure that you hop over to our Discord channel, simlypro.com, and look for us, and you could be alongside a lot of these drivers on the grid, if you do so please. Taking a look now at the schedule, just to see when we will see you guys next, and it looks like for round 12 out of 15, as mentioned, really coming down to it, we will see you in 2 weeks at Circuit of the Americas for the American Grand Prix. Make sure you tune in here, 7 o'clock Eastern, as always. All right. Bill, what do you think this week?
I loved it. I loved it. I love Red Bull. Just talking to, I genuinely love Red Bull. I'm a huge Red Bull fan, so this is cool as hell for me. I get to be a part of this. This is special. Shout out to AJ getting this thing together. This is so cool. Congrats to Cam, who just ironically I called as soon as I figured out. I was like, Cam, you have a great shot at winning in a Red Bull. It's gonna look awesome. I'm just stoked because, like I said, I'm a Red Bull fangirl. I'm a Max fan, so this was cool for me to see. No bias or anything.
The resident
Plus,
Red Bull fan
when it
in
comes to
booth, no
energy drinks,
bias.
this I can tell you, it's not a Monster household here for us. It's strictly Red Bull. So
Oh, as mentioned, we will catch you guys here in 2 weeks. Yes, May 31st. Make sure you tune in at 7 o'clock Eastern for the American Grand Prix. Or, as mentioned, any of the other series that ARC is putting on any given night of the week. You can find it on the socials. You can find it in the Discord, on the YouTube. Wherever you choose to look, you'll find us. All right. Until next time, signing off.